What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Combat Corporation, your source for combat sports. I'm your host, Al the Postmaster Morrow, and today I have a gear review on the Windy Proline boxing gloves. Alright folks, as always, I am incredibly excited to bring you yet another gear review, as today I have the Windy Proline training gloves, and these are more of a boxing glove from one of my favorite brands out there on the market, and that is Windy. Now, if you've been a fan of the channel since I started almost 4 years ago, or about 4 years ago now, you'll know that one of my first reviews was a pair of Windy traditional Muay Thai training gloves, which is a different brand, a different model from this. This is the Proline, which definitely screams more of like a Dutch kickboxing style of glove, not so much a Thai glove. In fact, when you look at it, for me, it looks like an amateur boxing glove, and it acts in a lot of the same ways, which is pretty cool. But Windy to me is one of those unsung heroes of the combat sports brands like community, in that they've been around for a very long time. They started in 1951. So they've had experience with that for a very long time. And now you obviously have a lot of other brands that are much bigger than Windy now. And Windy, I won't say fell into obscurity, because they're definitely not obscure. People still use Windy products. But they are definitely more used. I see them anyway in like Holland. In fact, that's, if you go into their website, it's all in Dutch. So I believe Windy is primarily like Netherlands or Holland-based brand now. All their stuff is still handmade in Thailand, as it even says here on the glove itself, which I'll show you in a second. But these are different in that you can really only get these from Windy's website. And a lot of people have actually sent me questions, so I don't mean to go into like a really weird intro to the video of like the difference between what you can buy from Windy's website compared to what you can buy on Amazon or Combat Sports International, which houses a lot of Windy products, which I think they're actually one of the few people that actually is a wholesaler for Windy in the United States. To give you an idea why, I ordered these things in July and did not get them until early September, and it took them a while to come from the Netherlands. I believe is really where they shipped out from, because I believe it said it shipped out from Holland. I'd have to look back at the tracking info. I know I did the other day, but I'm pretty sure it said it was coming from Holland, and it took a while. It wasn't even DHL. It was some other weird party thing that came out and sent these to me. But I finally called Combat Sports basically to ask the question of, I'm confused. I go on Windy's website. They have all these different models. They don't have anything that remotely resembles yours. Basically, the gist I got from it was Windy sends Combat Sports a bunch of stuff that people in the US know and love that they can get right then and there, that ships to their house pretty quick. Whereas Windy, based out of Holland, is meant more for the European and Thai cultures and stuff like that, and where you get them from. So these you'd have to order off Windy's website to really look into them and see them, which is pretty interesting. I thought that's cool. But when you see a bunch of stuff on Combat Sports, they have like the big hitters, it's called, which I have a pair of those, which is basically just a bigger version of the traditional Thai glove. But when you go on Windy's actual website, none of them look like the thing on Combat Sports. Combat Sports has just like the basic, it's like black with cream colored white and like a gold logo. Whereas on Windy.com, they have a bunch of different models of gloves and shin guards that are much different from the ones that you see at Combat Sports. And these are one of them. This is the Proline. So that's kind of the intro to it, just so you don't get confused. So if you want these, from my knowledge, you have to go on Windy's website. I think I saw them on Nakmoy Wholesale, but they were out of stock, as well as their Windy traditional like training gloves, which I'm going to get them from the Windy website just to see if they're any different from the ones that I use from Combat Sports. I don't know if they would be, but Combat Sports did assure me that Windy does make all the products that they sell, but you cannot get these from the Combat Sports website. So with that out of the way, let's go into the Proline gloves. Starting with, you can get these in a whole assortment of different colors and sizes. You can get them all the way from 12 to 18 ounces that I saw on their website. And once again, you got them in a bunch of different colors. I didn't see any of the lace-up models, although they do have lace-up versions of boxing gloves. They don't have them for the Proline that I saw. And you can also get them in two different types of materials. You can get them in synthetic leather. For some people like synthetic leather. Maybe if you're vegan and stuff like that, you don't want the leather product. I completely get that. Or maybe you think synthetic leather is better. It's also a little bit cheaper. It goes for about 60 pounds or 60 euros, I think it was on their website, which I think is about 80 bucks or 90 bucks in the States, compared to these, which are about 100 to 109 euros, which I would like to say came to about like 130, 140 when you're buying these flat out. So they are a pro boxing glove. They're a very good pro boxing glove. I will give them that much credit. And once again, you can get them in a bunch of different colors in lace-up closure. In Velcro closure. My exact model was the red coloration, all in leather and in the Velcro closure for 16 ounces is the size that I got here. So going into the look of the glove, the entire glove is that nice, like hot rod red, and it comes out very good, and it's a very shiny leather material, but you have that nice Windy logo there on the back, which basically is this black lettering of Windy with like a black grid globe right there, which looks really cool. I really like that. But other than that, on the back of the striking surface, the thumb, it's just a red coloration. There's nothing fancy about how the glove looks. It feels really nice though. I'll go into that when it comes to the build, but it's a nice cherry red type of color until you get to the bottom of the wrist cuff, which says, BGP, which I think it means Boxing Glove Proline is basically what it's standing for. And then it says Windy right there, handcrafted in Thailand with, that's what most Thai brands will do. And you can see the Boxing Glove Proline right there. So you got that going on here. You got like the black piping going throughout the wrist cuff, which is definitely a bit of a different wrist cuff from most others, in that it's very short on the wrist here. That's a black piping there. And then on the back, you see it's a 16 ounce at the tag. And I like when the 16 ounce or the ounces of the glove is actually sublimated into the glove. And then you have your Windy patch right there. It's a nice, it's like a polyester patch. It says Windy quality fight gear at the bottom there, which is really nice. So overall, the glove, looks as basic as any boxing glove it could. And I got these in red because I'm like, when I think of a classic boxing glove, I think not just like the old 1940s ones and stuff that were kind of brownish because of the leather. I think of the old school ones that like Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, Roberto Duran, and all those guys fought in when like TV started to come into color and stuff. And those nice shiny red gloves, like the ones you see Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali fight in, they were all that nice shiny red. So I got these in that color. But when we talk about the build of the glove, it is a very nice leather on the outside and has a really, really nice thickness to the leather too. There's a ton of hide to pull off of this glove. It is thicker than some of the other brands out there. So you definitely have a nice, thick, very soft and supple leather here. And that is very nice here on the outside of the glove. It feels really good. And it's very soft, and it's like a pillow actually. You can put your head right on it and it's actually comfortable. It smells like a brand new quality new shoe. I haven't even had to treat the leather yet. I've cleaned it, but I haven't had to treat the leather yet because the leather is very well made and it feels really good. And it's nice and supple, so it feels good on your face when you get hit. Leather overall is very nice, and that is everywhere on the glove except for obviously the Velcro and the interior lining, which is different. The stitching is a double line stitching here that is all in red. And that's all the way throughout the glove, even up to the grip bar here. And then when we talk about the padding on the website, it says it has like a latex layered padding to it, which I believe it because you can definitely feel the latex here really more towards the top of the glove, not so much at the bottom, but all of this padding isn't just latex. I can definitely feel more of like a high density foam here, but you can tell it's latex just because when you fold it and it pops right out. But there's also part of it which you can see is starting to resurface a little bit more. So it has multi-layered foams going throughout the padding here, and it is a thick padding. I mean, it feels good. You can see how nice and soft that is just by me pressing in. It's a very soft glove, very, very thick padding, which is nice. And you can even see it towards the fingers. That padding stays consistent all the way through. And you can tell they even have a separate thumb, but not because I think the padding is different from the thumb here. It's because the way the other side of the thumb is designed, which I'm going to go into in a second. But that padding is very thick. You got a very thick leather, and you got very thick padding here on the punch surface and all the way throughout the back of the glove. The padding consistency does not change. It's just about as thick the whole way through. So you got very thick padding there. Then once again, you come to the thumb. It's just as thick here, as a very flat facing thumb, which is the width of 3 of my fingers, by the way. And I do not have small hands, folks. The width and the length of about 3 of my fingers right there. So you got a huge thumb compartment. But the one thing about this glove that makes it very protective for your thumb is you get extra padding right here, which you can see that ridge going right there. So it's raised, and it feels like the same padding on the back of it, that open cell foam with that latex. It feels the same here on that part of the thumb. So it's a very comfortable, soft feeling thumb all the way throughout. It's not too soft to where something's just gonna poke right through and jam the top part of your thumb. It feels very good right there. Also on the palm, you can see we have that same material here on the palm, and it's almost like your hand has a pair of mitts on the inside. It's like one of those coach's mitts that you see, you know, the catch and throw mitts. And that's basically the same thing that you have here. Is it quite as thick? No. Is it soft and protective for my hand? Absolutely. And what makes me think that this is the perfect glove for partner work is because a lot of Dutch kickboxing or Japanese style kickboxing, and Thais do it too, but a lot of Dutch style kickboxing is not so much utilizing the clinch, it's more punches, kicks, knees, not even that much elbows from a distance unless you have to clinch with someone. And so they do a lot of partner drills that are like mitts. So that's why you don't see a whole lot of people like that do pads all the time, because they're doing pads with each other every day. So whenever we do pad work or like partner drills, Dutch drills in my gym, when we drill and we train, I love using these because it's like I have a pair of mitts on. It's also nice because the thumb is far enough away from the palm to where it's nice and easy, like I'm actually catching a punch, and it's not going to jam my thumb, and I don't have to stretch my thumb out or my hand out at all. It's just right there ready to catch, which is awesome. So overall, that's really cool. And even towards the top, you have a very soft grip bar right up towards the top here, and it feels like the same material of the knuckles as well. So overall, as far as the padding goes, the whole glove feels exactly the same as far as the material that they use for the padding, which is pretty nice. I like that. Then we also have like a split ridge here down towards the wrist that curves my wrist in a way that prevents me from getting smashed too much. Although it is not too padded on the outside here, it is definitely more padded on the side top towards the palm than it is downwards toward the wrist like this. It's pretty soft right here. This is kind of where you get a little different. It just kind of feels like a rubberized high density foam, or EVA foam actually. So not open cell, closed cell foam, I should say. It kind of feels like a rubberized patch towards the bottom here. That's probably just to counterbalance the weight. Although I will say it is a very light glove. I mean, it's 16 ounces. It weighs right on the dot 16 ounces, but this is one of the lightest gloves I've ever used. I will say one thing about it though, which you could probably tell because of how thick the top is. It is a very top heavy glove, but that gets canceled out with the wrist support. Going into the wrist cuff, it straps to the inside, which is usually something I don't like, but honestly, in this case, it works really well because of the way that it hugs to your wrist. You got a very fat, I mean a fat wrist strap, and like I said, it reminds me of those old Everlast amateur gloves that we would always fight in, and it had the little sleeve that went over the top, but that's basically what you get here. You get a very thick wrist strap. It's not very long, but it's very thick, and it passes over just the one time to get to your wrist. The glove opens up pretty well to a nice satin liner that is not baggy at all. Well, towards the bottom, actually, take that back, it's a little baggy, but towards the top, it's not baggy at all. And when I put my hand on the inside of the glove, we crawl that in, it fits right in, and it is such a comfortable feel. There's nothing overbalanced or over crushing my hand at all on the back, the knuckles, nothing. It's very easy to open and close my hand like this. I wish it was maybe a little bit more flexible, especially if you're doing like tie clinch and stuff like that, because you know you obviously want good grips, but you definitely get good enough grips for this to work. Obviously, Windy is made in Thailand, but like I said, this is more of a strict kickboxing glove in my idea, and good for boxing as well. But when I strap this tight, this thing is not going to come off my arm if I try. It's not going to come off. I'm trying as hard as I can, and I'm barely even moving my fingers. The wrist strap is so stuck to my arm that it won't come off. And it also has very good balance. It's not going to go too far to the sides. It's not going to go too far back. And it curls down a little bit, but most Thai-made gloves will, because obviously when we get our Thai clinch, we want to grab and curl our wrist down to really crank on the neck or the arms, something along those lines. Like I said, there's so much room on the inside of the thumb, and when I say I'm literally smacking the top part of my thumb, I don't feel it that much. It's very padded towards the top of the thumb. The knuckles, I can't feel them. And I mean, I can't feel them at all. So very much so, we have a defensive style pillow glove. I call it a hybrid because of how big the glove is. I mean, you can get your Philly shell going really well in these gloves. And they're also huge on the side of your hands, of your head rather. Your hands are big now. And then on top of it, the padding to it is so soft that you can feel every single, or that you can't feel when you punch. And if you have brittle hands, that's definitely a good plus for you. Overall, they're pretty comfortable. I guess the one complaint people might have, even though you have all those vented holes towards the top, I do notice that it is a little hot on the inside of the glove every now and again. But I mean, you're doing a combat sport. You're going to get heated, no pun intended. You're going to get heated up a bunch of times. It's just the way the sport works. So I don't really look into that overall. But I mean, I've used these gloves a lot, especially for heavy sparring because of how padded they are and because of that nice, you know, that palm area here. And I mean, like, good defense, feels good. My sparring partners never seem like they get rocked from this, so that's always good too. But let's go into the bag work so you can see what these gloves are like in action. So the first thing that will stand out is if you've ever hit a bag using an amateur boxing glove, that's how these feel. The padding is so thick that it protects my knuckles in a very good way, and the wrist support is awesome. When I say if you have brittle hands and you want to wail into a bag as hard as you can, this is a really good glove to do so. The grips are also very good, obviously, since it's made for Thai gloves, but I'm wailing into the bag as much as I can right now, and like I said, good grips there. But overall, the protection and the feel that you get on the bag is awesome. The gloves are also exceptionally light, which make it really easy to go on the bag and just get a really nice workout with these. Feels awesome. Right, so when it comes to the Windy logo, it stands out, just that globe that's going on right there, and they look like the most basic generic glove that you can get really out there. But the thing is about these is that they work so well. The other thing you notice is that you can see the big pad on the palm a little bit, but everything about the glove is just fairly basic. But at the same time, I love that nice shiny red. It's going to look great when you get hit with these. All right, so my final verdict for the Windy Proline training gloves is these gloves impressed me because, you know, with Windy, they are for sure one of my favorite brands out there because of the stuff that I've used over the years between their wall bags, heavy bags, I mean, their training gloves, their bag mitts that I use a lot. These gloves definitely surprised me in that, you know, Windy, although they've been around for so long, they can create something that is so good that it will stay on the market for a while. You know, their traditional Thai gloves are used by guys throughout the world now. Their shin guards throughout the world now. Their bags are still used. And then they decided to come out with these, which, like I say, is designed more for the Dutch kickboxer than it is for the Thai fighter. In that, I think these gloves are much better suited for punching, kicking with a little bit of clinch, like K1 style. Not too much clinch because they don't open quite as well as traditional Thai gloves like Fairtex and stuff. There's definitely too much material in the knuckles and in the palm for that to happen. But for me, I mean, this might be bold to say, I don't know if there's been a really too much of a better glove designed to train with someone, like as far as partner drills, period, because of the way the glove is made. For me personally, the nearest glove to me that has like the knuckle padding of this glove and the wrist support and somewhat like that is the RevGear Sentinel S3. That's a very thick glove with gel padding on the inside. You don't have gel padding on the inside here. It is a latex blend, so you have latex with high density foam throughout the padding. But let's just break down the glove one more time. so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. For one, if you're doing a lot of Dutch drills and you want to catch the palms, and I think a lot of people would think, oh God, there's not going to be enough room on the inside of the glove. There is plenty of room, actually. There's a lot of room on the inside of the glove to wrap your hands up good and everything like that, and it's nice and snug on your wrist. It's not going anywhere. And I love the fact that when we do like drills, that I can just catch like I'm using mitts because of that nice padded material right here on the palm, so you can catch very easy. On top of it, your thumb is secured for that because look at that little padding that you got going on the inside of the thumb here, which is very interesting. It's also a very thick thumb that is just curved enough on the outside to where you catch, it's not going to bother you so much, and that's amazing that they did that. The padding is very, very thick. There's no sort of bubbling yet, and I've had these since September, early September. It's January now, so that's definitely something. The other thing that I was so worried about with the glove that they fixed was I thought the wrist support would be bad because it's a very top-heavy glove. I mean, just look at that. I mean, that's basically what you have going on here. But I don't get that at all because when you put this on and you see how tight this wrist straps to you, it's not going anywhere, and it's stabilizing my wrist from going back too far to the left and the right too far. The only thing, once again, is that naturally with a tie-made glove, it's going to want to go down, but where my wrist rests is right where this padding is on the back. So Windy has you covered as far as the wrist support, the knuckle padding. I mean, it is thick, thick padding. It's like 2.5 inches of padding here at least. You know, and that's something that I love about this. The leather is very well made and easy to clean. They also have this in synthetic, so you have options. So if you don't want to spend, I think it's 109 pounds. I could be wrong, but if it's 109 pounds, they're like 132 bucks. If it's 109 euro, then it's like 115 bucks. I think the transference in my head is working correctly anyway. But overall, I think I wound up spending with like shipping everything came to like 150 bucks. So I pick the lowest shipping all the time because I got enough gloves to use. But I've been using these a lot, especially for my last fight, because I noticed when I spar in these, it really saves my hands. It really saves my sparring partners. Like there were times I asked my teammates, I said, how do these gloves feel? And they said, like they said, it still doesn't feel good to get hit, but they're very soft gloves, and they did not feel the impact from these compared to a lot of other gloves that I use. Obviously, I use a lot of puncher's gloves. These are the exception. These really got my mind off just using puncher's gloves. The other thing is, because of that nice latex material, yes, it's a pillow glove, and I call it a defensive glove also because of this. For a puncher like me, I love using these on the bags and pads because I get a nice feedback because the padding is so thick, it smushes in and bounces right back off, and it's awesome. Like I said, there's plenty enough room for you to use like a big hand wrap here, which is nice. The wrist support's great. The thumb support's awesome. The only thing that I think some people might not like is that when they open, somewhat defeats the purpose here in that you really need to open this glove wide to use it as a mitt. And they don't open quite as well as like their tie gloves do. Like the traditional tie glove that I reviewed opens much easier than these do. This is definitely more of a boxing or kickboxing glove, but it opens just enough so you can definitely hit here. When I say I'm wailing into this with my bare knuckle, I don't feel it too much. So it's a very nice padded material for your palm. Definitely great for Dutch drills or for partner drills. I absolutely love that about this. The interior lining is not too hot. It's not too cool. Feels good right in the middle. It's not baggy at all, and the grip bar on the inside feels awesome. It's a very comfortable glove. It doesn't restrict me that much at all. The only thing I will say is that if you're doing like Thai boxing, like I said, not only does it not open well, it's a big glove. It's a kind of bulky glove, but it is a very nice and light glove. Like I think it's about as big as like Grant in width, but this glove feels 1,000 times lighter than Grant, but it does weigh right on the dot with 16 ounces. The wrist support, like I said, is with that big, thick strap. That's why I like thicker straps on most of my gloves, because I think that really does promote better wrist support. If it was just like thin and went around here, I mean, this glove would be in the tubes because the wrist support wouldn't be good compared to that nice big wrist support that are coming towards the top of my wrist down here. Then you got that padded part that meets the wrist support and the strap right there. So that's really, really good for my hand and for my wrist especially. So when we have that going on, it's a very well protected glove because of how nice and solid it is. at first too, the one thing I would have changed would have been the inside strap. I never really liked the inside strap idea, but it works good for this glove. The other thing is, for using it for so long now, you know, almost 4 months, and on top of that, the amount that I've used these, there is no chipping, there's no bubbling, everything is sublimated, it's still sublimated, nothing's like wearing off at all. You know, everything here looks just good. I think the one thing that you can knock for it is that it just doesn't look flashy, but I don't care about flashy, I care about performance. So overall, it's a basic looking glove that does the job. If I had to give it a final rating out of 10, I'm going to give this glove a solid 9 out of 10, just because I think overall they did everything good with the craftsmanship and the quality of the glove. I just wish it was a little bit more flexible. Granted, a lot of Dutch kickboxers usually don't like catch too much like that. You know, when they catch, it's more like, you know, defense back into the punching and stuff like that. So you want a glove designed for that. That's always meant to keep your hands closed, so that's good. I would also maybe make it a little bit more loose, so you can open your hands more for guys that want to use it for Thai boxing. You get grips and stuff like that. And so you can use that nice padded part of the palm right here. You would think this would get in your way. I can definitely see for a boxer, people wouldn't like that. But for MMA and kickboxing, this glove is amazing. So I definitely give it that idea. I would just make it a little bit more loose so you can actually use it like a pad properly. Have I ever smashed my hand in this? No. My thumb? No. Everything about it is very comfortable. It's very much used for the athlete. It's very much for your safety, which is awesome. So Windy definitely, for me, hit a home run with this design for kickboxers and for MMA fighters. I would just say for like a traditional Thai guy, you still might want to get more of a traditional glove, because this one's definitely not going to grip quite as well as you want. So in that regard, it falls to like maybe a 7 out of 10 for a pure Thai glove. But for a kickboxing glove, I give it a 9 out of 10. For like a regular boxing glove, I give it an 8 out of 10, because I can tell you a lot of boxers would hate the padding right in the center there. They like open gloves so you can catch, but a lot of guys I know don't really like too much material in the palm, so it's not uncomfortable when you close. Only thing is, it's not uncomfortable when you close, even with this. And honestly, there's so much padding to this glove, you might not even have to wrap your hands. I know a lot of MMA guys just don't wrap their hands, which is okay, I guess. I do. But overall, the wrist support, the knuckle padding, everything about the glove just feels good. So with that said, guys, I'll post a link in the description below. I give these a solid 9 out of 10 for me personally. I definitely think maybe for a Thai guy or a boxing guy, they might not like them quite as much, but they do look pretty cool, huh? But overall, I think these are a very good glove. I think Windy did a very good job, and for the price point of about 130 bucks, that's definitely a good bargain for a pro fight glove. It's also good, especially for sparring. I think as far as sparring goes, this is one of the safest gloves that I've ever used, and it works really, really well. Very thickly padded, very protective for my knuckles and my hands. Good for my sparring partners as well, and I can definitely see these lasting you a good 3 to 4 years if you take good care of them. So with that said, guys, please do me a favor, comment below, tell me what you want to see me review next. I love to hear it. I'd love to see if I can get my hands on it and review it for you. I got a lot of new videos that I'm in the process of like editing now, so I can start getting them out. I really, after my fight this week, last week, started hitting a lot of the videos, and this was one of them. So I'm really excited to get a lot of these reviews out. I'm really starting to hit like brand by brand. So I'm starting to get like a bunch of things by one brand, then move on to the next brand and do it like that, because a lot of people are asking questions about those. But I love when you guys ask about specific gloves. Or headgear, mitts, anything. So I got all that stuff coming out soon. Really appreciate all support from my fight guys. I won by 3rd round TKO. Really excited about that. Hopefully next fight is in March or April of this year. But without further ado, like I said, please like, comment, and subscribe, especially comment. But it goes a very long way to help the channel. Also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, all my social media pages, and I'd love to talk to you on there as well. Hit me up for some glove counseling, as they call it. So I love that people call it that. But like I said, post a link in the description below. I really like these gloves. I think you will too. All right, guys, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next episode. Have a good one, everybody.